We got some interest last week from you all on the influencer marketing topic. So Kennedy has put together a little presentation for us. She's going to go through the basics of internet marketing, what it is, how to utilize it, and then she's going to be here to answer any questions that you guys have. And then after that, we'll open it up to any questions regarding e-commerce in general, life, mindset, growth, biohacking, whatever you want to talk about.
Whatever you want to talk about, we're here for. Cool. Okay, I'm going to get this. It's not that long. I want to leave a lot of time for questions for you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Cool. So a lot of people were asking questions about influencer marketing last time, and we got to answer a few questions, but I kind of just wanted to give a brief overview about what influencer marketing is, what influencers are, where to find them, how to get them attracted to your product, and the best way to utilize the different social platforms to get customers to your store and make sales, which is the ultimate goal here. So what is an influencer on its basic level? It's someone who has the power to affect purchase on stores, and they have authority, power, knowledge, and position within their niche, whatever it is. And they also have a very close perceived relationship with their audience. So that's the difference between running Facebook ads or email campaigns or even something like a billboard. If we want to think more simplistic marketing, influencers are very unique because their audience trusts their personality and who they are. So a lot of times this is a really effective way of marketing because you have someone who is vetting a product that their audience trusts this person. The following is very distinct to certain niches. So for example, if you have a person who's in fitness, the people who follow them are most likely interested in fitness. If you have a dog Instagram account, for example, the people following them probably have dogs. If you are in the baby product, niche, you probably want to be looking for moms who vet baby products and things like that. Their following is really going to depend on what type of niche that they're in. So for the sake of learning about the different tiers or categories of influencers, I like to break it down into 4. So we have the mega influencers, which are anyone over 1 million followers. Macro influencers are between 150,000 followers to right below 1 million. Micro influencers are anywhere between 10,000 followers to right below 150K. And then nano influencers are anyone below 10,000 followers. So 2 important things here to keep in mind. Anyone below 10,000 followers on Instagram specifically do not have a swipe up. This doesn't affect any other platform. So if we're talking about TikTok or YouTube or anything like that. And followers can also be subscribers if we're talking about YouTube channels. So for the sake of depending on your, budgeting for how you want to attract these influencers, compensate these influencers, typically micro and nano influencers are going to be the most affordable and in fact probably have the most pull within their audience because their audience is smaller and more trusting. When you get into the macro and mega influencers, you're looking at very large budgets to attract them to work with your brand. And typically a lot of them they're kind of expanding past their niche. Their audience is not necessarily so trusting of their content anymore. So when we're looking for influencers and all different social channels to work with, I would definitely look under 150,000 followers on any platform, specifically if you're starting out and have never worked with influencers before. So there are 4 types of partnerships with influencers that are really important to keep in mind. There are paid campaigns, affiliate marketing, giveaways, and gifting. So paid campaigns are when you decide to pay an influencer a fixed amount of money for them to talk about your product on their platform. This provides you a lot of control about how they talk about your product. Typically, when you're paying an influencer outright, you have complete and total creative control over what they say about your product. You also have approval prior to them posting. It gives you a very, very controlled environment to talk about whatever you're selling. Affiliate marketing is based on a commission rate of sales of your products or from your store. So this means that when you sign on an influencer as an affiliate, they can talk about the product as much as they want to make money. The more they talk about it, the more money they'll make. The less they talk about it, the less you'll probably sell through them. The problem here that you can run into is that you don't have as much creative control over how they talk about your product because it's totally at their discretion. However, this still is a very beneficial way of marketing, and you don't ever have to pay them upfront, which is really nice, specifically if you're working with a low budget. You only pay them as they make sales for you. Giveaways are a really collaborative way of working with influencers in different social channels. And sometimes this benefits those who are trying to build their own social channels for your store. So if you're trying to build your Facebook page for your store, or your email list, or your YouTube channel, or your Instagram or TikTok, whatever you're trying to build, doing giveaways are a great way to do so because you can collaborate with the influencer and essentially say, you and the influencer get together and decide that you're going to give away this product for free to 5 of the influencer's followers, but in order for them to enter, they have to follow you. So typically this is really attractive to influencers because it's also going to increase their following as well. And a lot of times influencers will do giveaways for free, not always, but a lot of times. You have more creative control over giveaways as well. However, you can't really confirm as many sales up front. You can't track sales with this. You can't confirm that someone's going to buy it because they see it. A lot of times they want things for free. So it's really good for great like free exposure. Gifting is completely free in terms of compensating the influencer. You will have to keep in mind that you will have to be gifting the product to your influencer. And this is a great way to get attention to your product. This is also great if you have no budget for influencer marketing. If you don't want to pay an influencer right now, this is a great way to start. However, you will not have much creative control at all. You might not even have control over if they post it or not. A lot of times, and we'll get to how you reach out to influencers later, but if you are reaching out to an influencer saying that you want to gift them a product, you can say, I'm gifting this because I'd like you to review it on your page or on your YouTube or on your TikTok. But you can't confirm that they will or they will not. So for gifting, you definitely want to stick with the nano influencers, which do have a lot of pull because nano influencers, since they're just starting out, they usually want to be posting more and more content. So they'll be more likely to actually post about what you're gifting. You'll also have to keep in mind, though, that with all of these types of partnerships, you can't just pick one influencer and say, this person's going to change the sales on my store. You need to create a nice resume of a multitude of influencers during the same time period so that people's feeds who follow these influencers are flooded with your product. So for example, if gifting is your strategy, you probably want to gift to about 50 influencers within a period of 3 weeks. That way you kind of have a subtle timeline of when these influencers might post about your product. Same with paid campaigns, giveaways as well. Affiliate marketing, not so much. You can kind of just find affiliates as you please because affiliates, again, will post as much as they would like to make money. So yeah, those are the 4 types of campaigns that work best specifically with e-commerce stores when you're selling products. So how to find influencers? We got a lot of questions about this last week. So I want to touch on 3 major and probably the easiest strategies to find influencers. It really all comes down to market research. You guys know your niche the best. You're selling within your own niche in your e-commerce store. And so you probably know where to find the experts already, even if you haven't looked on social media for them. You know what terms are related to your niche. You know what other similar products are related to your niche. You already know that information. You are experts. You built a store about it. So the first thing that I would recommend doing is look for hashtags. This is specifically relevant for TikTok and for Instagram. So let's say we'll go back to the fitness example. If you are a fitness e-commerce store who sells resistance bands, I would look up the hashtag resistance band workout. I would scroll through that hashtag until you find people who have a reasonable following, whose content is good, like they have professional looking content, and I would add them to your spreadsheet or list of influencers you'd like to reach out to. You can do this for multiple different hashtags. There's really no limit here. I would just literally do as many types of hashtags that are related to your niche as possible. You can also find similar accounts to accounts that you already know about within your niche. So if you're on TikTok and you are selling dog products and you follow a few dog accounts, you can more than likely find other dog accounts commenting on those TikToks. You can probably find accounts through hashtags that also follow those accounts. There's a lot of different ways to find similar accounts. On Instagram, there's a really cool feature where if you're actually in someone's profile, there's a drop-down menu where you can look at accounts that are similar and or that follow that account as well. Because remember, we're trying to flood people's feeds with your products. So you also want to be working with multiple influencers who might know each other or run in the same circles, things like that. So I would look for similar accounts to who you already know in the industry. Now, social scrapers is a great tool for those of you, or for anyone really, but specifically those of you who have done zero market research about your niche within social media. Typically, I like to use Social Rank. There's many more out there. You can just literally Google social scrapers and you can look at them for yourself for your own needs, but Social Rank is one of my favorites. It's a really cool platform where you basically can type in keywords and kind of anything related to your e-commerce store, and a bunch of influencers that are within your within your range of following or within your parameters will show up, and you can actually export that list and utilize it to your own use however frequently you'd like. So those are the three main ways. Now, keep in mind, the more market research you do, the more you immerse yourself in social media within your niche, the easier this will be. But if you're just starting out and you don't really have a list of influencers to reach out to, these are the three strategies that I would start with. Now, lastly, let's go over reaching out to influencers. So I wrote be a stalker because I really mean be a stalker. Many influencers, specifically if they're on the micro or macro level, get thousands of DMs and thousands of emails a day, some of which might even have managers. They always get reached out to about products. So the more consistent you are, the more likely they will see you first. We run into this issue a lot with when we want to sign on affiliates at Zendrop. And the way that we do it is we literally stalk them. If we want you as part of the Zendrop family, you will know, and we will not give up on getting in contact with you. So there's 4 steps that I would follow, and then I would honestly repeat these steps over and over and over again if they haven't gotten back to you. So first, you want to contact the influencer via email. Depending on which social channel you are looking at, you can pretty much find everyone's email. On TikTok, there's a contact me button. Same with Instagram. On YouTube, if you go to their about on their YouTube channel, you can find their email there. Everyone's email is attached to their social channel somewhere. So I would contact them via email. When it comes to drafting an influencer email, you basically just want to say, I would really love to send you, depending on which campaign concept you're going for, explain the campaign concept, explain who you are, what you sell, why you'd like them to be a part of it. And if they would like more information and are interested, just to respond, and then you can facilitate that relationship going forward. I would immediately follow up with a DM saying, hey, I just shot you an email. Please look at it at your early convenience. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you haven't heard back from them in about 2 days, send them another email and another DM. And then my favorite thing to do is to comment on their latest post and be like, I sent you an email, please check it. And I pretty much do this for every single person I reach out to for Zendrop, and you usually get a 60 to 70% response rate. So it does work. It's a little bit, you seem a little bit annoying, but trust me, it's worth it in the long run. Now, I will say, though, that getting a response is only the first step. You have to facilitate the actual partnership going forward. So what I would recommend is doing research on affiliate marketing or paid campaigns, whichever kind of influencer campaign you're looking into doing. Go do your own research in terms of guidelines and ways to reach out to influencers within your niche. And that's kind of all I have prepared for you guys, because I really want to open it up for questions. So yeah, that is how you're going to reach out to influencers. That's what influencers are. And I would love to open it up to questions for anyone who wants to know more.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Kennedy. That was great.
You're welcome.
I have a few points that I think might help people. And I think we can discuss some of those while people are asking questions. The first would be pricing. So
This is a really good point. Yeah.
how how would you sort of, I guess, based on the tiers of influencers, what kind of pricing could you expect to pay? What kind of deals are typical of the, in those tiers of influencers? What kind of deals are they expecting?
So it's really totally varied on a couple different factors. One of which is how engaging a audience is. So, for example, if you get a lot of likes and you only have 10,000 followers and a lot of comments, you're probably going to charge more. The kind of rule of thumb to think about when you're reaching out to influencers is always subtract a 0 from their follower number, and that's kind of around the basis of where they're going to land. That's specifically for TikTok and for Instagram. So subtract a 0, and that's kind of where they're going to land. I would always present a number first. Don't let them present a number. Influencers will always overshoot their rates. They'll totally try to outsell you. It's very common. For YouTubers are typically going to be more expensive just because content is so much harder to create. So for example, if someone has 100,000 subscribers on YouTube and you want a 10-minute video about your products, I would totally say that you're probably about on the $1,500 to $2,000 range if you're doing paid campaigns. So this is why if you have a minimal budget, I would recommend the affiliate route so that you don't have to directly pay out without any confirmed return on investment.
Yeah, the affiliate structure is a really good way to do it. Like you said, you're not having to shell out any money out of pocket. I also think the gifting strategy is a good one, because if you're buying a product for $8 from Zendrop and selling it for 30, maybe you could send it to 12 people for $100, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So that's a pretty good strategy. Also, so okay, so that's pricing. And then the other thing I want to talk about is you brought up in the pricing, which was engagement.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, if someone has 100,000 followers on Instagram or 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, you can really only expect about 10% of those people to
Not
see.
even these days.
Right. It depends, depending on the platform, obviously. But to use a ballpark estimate, it's like 10% of people are even going to see this content, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can take that and you can compare it to what would it take for that amount of people. What would I have to pay on let's say a Facebook for that many people to see this content? And then obviously, well, maybe not obviously to some people, but the audience of an influencer is going to be much more engaged than a cold audience on Facebook. So that's another thing to point out. I think that's important, is the audience that you're targeting on Facebook is a cold audience, right? They've never seen your ads before. You haven't marketed them before, unless of course you're retargeting them. But we're talking about just starting fresh on a new campaign. That's a cold audience. The influencer audience is a much warmer audience. They're much more likely to convert on this product. They've obviously are in this niche. They follow this person. So maybe if you could talk about the differences between like that cold effort and like that warm influencer audience.
Yeah, of course. So as we probably all know, a lot of Facebook advertising is impulse buying. That's why it works so well for dropshipping, because people are just one-off buying products from various stores when they see it on their Facebook campaigns or Facebook feeds. When you decide to work with influencers, you do have a warmer audience because these followers of these influencers mainly probably follow them for their suggestions and advice, whether it is on products or, whatever their niche is. We're talking about products here. They've already followed those people because they trust their opinion. So that is why it's a naturally warmer audience already. Not only that, you're dealing with creators now. So when we're dealing with Facebook ads, you are the creator, or if you have someone designing your ads, that's the creator, but there's no human being attached to your creatives. It's just you want something enticing to shine through on a Facebook feed. But when you're dealing with influencers, their entire job is to create a lifestyle around their niche. So a really good example of how working with an influencer can actually elevate your store to actually a brand is a brand called Frank Body, which is we were talking about skincare last week on the live, so I'll continue that conversation now. Frank Body is a coffee-based body exfoliant that was founded in Australia. No better than any other exfoliant you can find out there on the market, quite honestly. I've tried it myself. But what they did is they targeted influencers, and they kind of let the influencers take the creative. They're like, you make this however you want to make it. And so what happened is a bunch of these gorgeous women started putting a little bit of this coffee on their face and taking selfies, and that became the cool thing to do. Everybody, not only people who are buying the product, but people who are being paid to market the product, all wanted to take a selfie like this. And now, not only does your brand have credibility, but it's not just a store anymore, it's actually a brand. It is now something that people seek after because it shows a lifestyle. So working with influencers definitely elevates your products because it allows your customers or your potential customers to visualize themselves within the same lifestyle that these influencers that they follow. So it's a way higher conversion rate if you do it right, if you work with the right influencers. Now, working with the wrong influencers can definitely taint your brand as well. So definitely do heavy vetting. Make sure you're following these influencers for a while, you like their content, you see positive comments on their content, their following is growing, and that their engagement is high. So back to what Brad was saying about engagement, for those of you who might not be familiar with that term, the average engagement on Instagram and TikTok is only 5 to 10%. So that means only 5 to 10% of a person's followers actually engages with their content. So if it's anything lower than that, I would recommend not even looking at them, because that means that their audience is not warm. Actually, it's probably very stale.
Yeah, that's such an important point, is that these people that are following these accounts have massive trust in this person. They're consuming their content. They want to be in some aspect like this person.
Exactly.
Taking myself for an example, I love Tim Ferriss. I follow Tim Ferriss. I listen to all of his podcasts. And when he recommends a brand in one of his ad reads for his podcast, I have so much trust that he would not sell me something. He's also extremely wealthy, so he's not taking brand deals just to take brand deals, right? So all these factors tell me that he's not going to sell me something that he doesn't believe in. And I believe in so many of the things that he believes in, right? That's why I follow him, why I listen to him, why I think that his content is so awesome. And so I am so much more likely to buy something like, for example, Athletic Greens, that look, I take a lot of supplements and I've tried a lot of stuff, and I would have normally never bought Athletic Greens, but the fact that Tim Ferriss actually recommended it on one of his pre-roll ads made me buy Athletic Greens, because I trust that he's not just peddling Athletic Greens because he wants to make an affiliate commission. He believes in the product, and now I believe in the product.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So you bought into, or you aspired to be like the lifestyle that he lives because it's something that you admire. And that is essentially the formula you want to crack. If you can find influencers whose audience literally trusts every opinion that they bring to the internet, and then you put your product in front of their audience, this is sold out e-commerce, or you actually can't sell out dropshippers, but like this has sold out stores on TikTok before. Like this exact strategy has literally made these tiny stores of homemade goods go from selling no sales to literally everything is gone in their inventory. So it's very, very effective.
It's so leveraged because you're basically taking all of the work that person's ever done on that channel, right? Whether it's their podcast, whether it's their YouTube channel, whether it's their Instagram, they've made thousands of posts. They've put thousands of hours into relating to people and gaining this following. And you're leveraging all of that work in your deal that you're making with an influencer. You're basically getting all of the work that they previously put in to grow that following, to use on your post. You're
Yeah.
getting all that trust that that person's developed. You're getting all the advice that they've given them and all the hard work that they've put in to build that relationship.
It's like they are your seasoned pixel at that point. You don't have to wait. It's essentially like a human seasoned pixel.
Yeah.
Who knows their audience so well, and they obviously want to benefit from marketing your product. They are also in a business as well, and so they're going to do the best job they possibly can to show your product to their audience. So in my opinion, it's one of the most effective marketing strategies out there. It's not necessarily the easiest because now you're having to work with multiple personalities, and vetting influencers is definitely a difficult feat. And now influencers are getting smarter and working with agencies, and agencies are just a hassle in and of itself. But if you can really position yourself in influencer marketing correctly, you're no longer just a drop shipping store. You are a company, you are a brand, you are something that people seek.
One more question before we get into some questions that we have from everyone that's attending the call. Back to price.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about pricing for micro influencers, because that's what I think a lot of people are going to be utilizing for a drop shipping store. Okay. So what could I expect to pay an influencer that has 10,000 followers with a reasonable engagement rate?
Cool. So every single social channel is different in terms of the different types of ways that you can utilize their platform. So we'll talk about Instagram because it's like where the original OG influencer came from. So Instagram, we have Instagram stories, we have feed posts, we now have reels, and we have IGTV. So we have different ways for you to attract customers to your store through an influencer. Typically, so let's say we're going to work with an influencer that has 13,000 followers with very decent engagement. You can expect to pay about $500 to $600 per feed post if we're talking about stories with the swipe up. So that's why keep in mind that you don't have a swipe up if you're under 10K. So if you want people to swipe up directly to your store, you want to be targeting influencers that have above 10K. In my opinion, Instagram stories are way more important real estate on a social channel than feed posts, because their followers can directly swipe up. So for an Instagram story, you can expect about $100 per Instagram story with the swipe up. For IGTVs and reels, you can expect anywhere between $600 to $800. So because it's just higher production value because it takes longer. So that's what I would say for Instagram. If we're about the 10,000 to 15,000 follower range. If we're talking about TikTok, it's actually a little bit cheaper because the content doesn't have to be as professional. TikTok thrives off of non-professional, off-the-cuff content. And what's interesting is that you're more likely to go viral than you are for your current followers to see your content. So it's probably, if you're still in the 10 to 15K range, you're probably expecting a $200 to $300 TikTok. Again, that it'll vary depending on the influencer, and it also vary depending on the quality of content. If you have someone who doesn't edit their photos well, or doesn't edit their TikToks well, or doesn't brush their hair before they get on camera, or doesn't necessarily create consistent content, you can probably go the cheaper route. But also I would question working with them in the first place, because you don't want those types of people being attached to your brand. Yeah. YouTube is a whole other beast, which is why I always recommend going the affiliate route if you think that your product would best be presented on YouTube, because YouTubers charge very, very, very high rates because the production quality or production routine, I guess, is just so extensive. So I don't even really want to get into that because I would not even recommend it.
Cool. So on that note, that's an important part to this puzzle also. Important piece to this puzzle is the product within the platform that you're using. So when you're structuring deals with affiliates, you're not just saying like, hey, I'll give you $100 for a post, right? Mm-hmm. You have to know what you're buying, and you have to have that knowledge going into making the deal. So what you can expect to pay and what you're going to get. So you could make whatever sort of package you want for a deal, right? Influencers might have packages that they do all the time.
They'll
But
typically have a media kit if they are
right,
professional. Yeah.
right. They'll typically have a media kit. But if you're looking, if this is your first time doing it and you're just reaching out to influencers, you might want to have something in mind that you want and a price that you want to pay. So you're not caught off guard when someone tries to negotiate a package with you. So you're not getting ripped off or you're not getting a bad deal. Right. So
Exactly.
like a typical media, like a product in a media kit would be like, I'll do 2 feed posts, right, which stay forever, right? So you're getting 2 of those. You're going to get 3 swipe ups within the next 7 days.
Hmm.
Before you post that last 24 hours, you might get an IGTV. So you got to know what you're buying going in. Your deal is going to be also based off of the products that you're going to get within that person's feed and world.
Exactly. Exactly. And I would also recommend going in with the campaign idea in mind. For example, and I also actually love if anyone wants to raise their hand and give me their product, I can totally help you with the campaign concept. So let me know if you want to raise your hand. We can quickly hash through that. But like you want to have a campaign idea in mind. So if you are a pet store and you sell glow in the dark leashes, I think Jared used that example one time, or maybe you did. And you just found these new glow in the dark leashes on Zendrop that you're about to start running ads to. And you can create a very specific narrative about them. Um, you'll basically want to come to the influencers saying, we're starting a new campaign about this, and this is how we're talking about it. Are you interested? Because you do still want to guide them in the direction of you're still paying them for a service. So you do have a level of control if we're talking about the paid campaigns. You have a level of control about the messaging that they put out there. They're going to put the messaging in their own words, the way that best translate with their audience, but you kind of want to guide them in the direction of why this product is beneficial and how you want them to talk about it.
So I actually think that's a really cool concept. Let's take a couple of questions from people and then we'll do like a mock campaign. Like we'll give you
Someone can raise their hand and we'll talk through a mock campaign with them.
go through the whole process. I like that. So
Cool.
we have a question from Travis. How much should a test budget be for your first campaign, and what are you looking for in a potential influencer? I know you covered a lot of that, but maybe just like pretend you have $100. What are you gonna do?
So if you have $100, I would recommend gifting. What this will do is it'll allow you to test different influencers and see how well your product translates with their audience. You can see how people are commenting about it, if they're talking about it more and people are sharing about it. So if you have a very small budget of like $100, I would take that money and send it directly towards gifting. In terms of budgeting, it's totally kind of up to your marketing budget. But what I would say is that when you're running campaigns with influencers on any platform, the minimum number that I would reach out to and engage in a campaign at once is 10. This is similar to like, this is what retargeting is, right? So if someone sees your ad once on Facebook, they might not buy it. They need to see it multiple times and then they're going to click on it. Same thing. If you just have one influencer marketing your product, they're less likely to buy it. You want like 10 influencers at least at the same time posting your product. So structure your budget. And by this, I mean your tier of influencer, because the lower followers, the cheaper they'll be, around a minimum of 10 influencers.
And the cool thing is you should be running retargeting ads all the time, right? So if you're gifting and you're getting 100 people to your store, you can, even if no one purchased, we can run retargeting campaigns and convert 5 of those people into sales and you're profitable. So
yeah, and what's happening is people are now clicking on your account on social media. That's a huge thing. If you don't have a social media account connected to your store, do that now, because influencer marketing does not work if you do not have a social media account. But what's happening is that the more people are clicking on your social media accounts, your pixel is getting smarter and it's going to retarget those people too.
So with gifting, you're reaching out to people before you send them a product, right? You're asking them if they want to be an affiliate partner or they want to partner with you. You want to send them a product for them to review, right?
Yeah, essentially say, I would love for you to review our new product. If you want to post about it, we'd love for you to post about it. You can even say in exchange for an Instagram story. Typically, most of the micro influencers will just say yay because they want more content to post. And then if they say yes, they'll send you your address and then you send them the product. And the really cool thing is it's also kind of like a tryout. If they create really great content for you from that one gifting, maybe you do want to turn around and pay them for a second campaign. Maybe you do want to sign them on as an affiliate. Maybe you do want to do a giveaway with them. It's a great way to test the waters with influencer marketing if you're afraid about spending too much money because you don't trust the process.
And then very important, lastly, in the last part of that deal, give them the link, the landing page to that product.
Exactly. Yep, you want them to have the link so they can swipe up. Exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Jake asks, thanks so much, super helpful. For the affiliate approach, what percentage would you give them of each sale?
So Jake, I think it totally is dependent on the type of products you're selling. So like where your price ranges are. Typically in affiliate campaigns that I've been in the past, I see anywhere between 5 to 15%. But again, it's totally dependent on how upcharge your, like what's your profit margin on the actual product itself.
Yeah.
But no less than 5%. I don't think an influencer would ever take that.
Definitely dependent on margin. You have to obviously have some room in there, but remember, usually drop shipping, especially if you're just starting out, you have very low overhead cost. You have like the $30 Shopify subscription. You can use Zendrop for free. Maybe you pay $49 a month for the pro plan. You have very little overhead other than the products that you've already sold that you have to pay for. So you have a lot of wiggle room. You could offer upwards of like 30 or 40%. And keep in mind, like the only relationships that work in business are the ones where both parties win, right? So if you're like, oh, I'm going to get this guy for, I'm going to offer him 6% commission, like you got to think like that person that's selling that product now for you is not going to put much effort into it if there's not much upside for them, right? So you have to find a good balance where honestly, if I was just starting a drop shipping store and I was using affiliate marketing, I would go on the other end of the spectrum. I would go as high as I could go without losing money to get sales and traffic running through to my store, because you want to get some traction. So
agreed.
Both sides have to win.
And not only that, a very typical, I dabbled in the influencer world for a while. I call myself a retired influencer now, because now I have a big girl job. But what I love to say, like what I loved about when people would reach out to me is that they would actually calculate my estimated affiliate earnings. So they would say, you have a following of X, your engagement is X, assuming that 20% of your engaged audience will actually convert. This is your potential of you'll be making X amount. That is way more attractive than like, oh, maybe I'll give you 10% if you sell something. Because everyone reaches out and says that. So that's a really great tactic too, is to literally if you really want to work with an influencer, calculate their estimated earnings of affiliate income. And it's very enticing.
It's a good way to get someone to respond to you. Hey, you're going to make $10,000.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There was a follow-up question about a landing page. Travis asked a follow-up question about a landing page versus a store page. Travis, for the sake of tracking, since if you're going to be gifting, you can't, or really any of these, you can't necessarily track which influencer they came from. You can on Google Analytics, but if you're just trying to look at a quick glance of how much traffic is coming from that social channel, I would recommend the actual link on your store to that specific product you gifted. That way you can see the spike in interest of that product based on when influencers started posting about you.
Also, people have the attention spans of like goldfish.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to give them any other opportunity to not go to your store and purchase. You want to send them directly to that product page. So if they're interested, they don't have to figure out where it is. They don't have to do anything else. They can click and buy. Debbie asked, what if you have a lot of different products for different price ranges?
Debbie, do you want to come up and describe more about your products? I'd love to walk you through a hypothetical situation.
Yes, I actually do have a pet site, pet stuff, dog stuff, and then like merchandise for the humans, you know, sweatshirts, blankets, and things with dogs, thingies, and paws and stuff like that. But again, I mean, and furniture also. So some of it is like, you know, you said the dog collar, harness, whatever, and some of those are like inexpensive, you know, up to, you know, $200 things. So how, I mean, that's not necessarily something that I can say, oh, you'll make this amount, or this is, you know what I'm saying, but the example you just gave, I mean, my price ranges and items are different, so different.
So
Go ahead.
Real quick, let me jump in before Kennedy talks about the influencer side of it. I would suggest that you're going to run a campaign for one product. You are not going to run a campaign that has multiple products in it. That's complicated, and your conversion rate's going to go down a lot from that. I'd pick one product and go to an influencer with that one product, whatever product that is that you choose.
Okay. All right. And then do the calculations based on that then.
That's exactly what I would recommend too. Typically you want to, if you're going to go the influencer route, again, you want to flood people's Instagram feeds or TikTok feeds or YouTube's with the same product, so they buy that one. And then you can optimize your store specifically to suggest other products when they decide to purchase that single one that you're marketing. So yeah, I just pick one that you really think could take off, or like, you know, your own metrics on your store. Pick the ones that are already making substantial sales and that are reasonably affordable and things like that. And that's the one I would market.
Yeah, and even if you don't have any that aren't making substantial sales right now, here's the feedback. Here's the cool thing about doing these influencer marketing campaigns. You're sending traffic to your store now, right? And so you're now seasoning your pixel and you're collecting data. So you can then retarget that traffic and also start to sell them other products, retarget them for that one specifically, start to sell other products to them, and create lookalike audiences based on that traffic. Because what's happening is, for people that are just starting out, you have your Facebook pixel on your store, right? That Facebook pixel is collecting data. As long as that person has a Facebook account, which almost everyone that has an Instagram account does, right? Mm-hmm. Or anyone that does have an Instagram account does, I should say. As soon as they visit your page, that their data is stored in your Facebook pixel. So now you're taking an already highly concentrated, niche, engaged audience, right? And by collecting data on that, even if they don't purchase, you can now create audiences based on people that look like that person. So there's many positive externalities to doing this. The direct one is sales, right? You put in X, you get out Y. You give an influencer this money and they make a post, their audience comes to your site and makes a sale. But the cool thing that's happening is, even if people come to your site and don't make a purchase, you can still create really powerful audiences with Facebook Pixel on the back end.
Exactly. So it's helpful all around. One question that Jake has, and then Kamal will call you up. Should we create a contract for them to sign? So in anything where you are giving them money, yes, there should be a contract signed. If you're not really familiar with writing contracts and things like that for affiliate or for any influencers at all, Rocket Lawyer actually has really extensive influencer contracts, which are nice. If you have a lawyer already on hand, I'd recommend going that route. But anytime you're exchanging services for funds, there must be a contract. Gifting is where it gets a little tricky because you're not paying them, so you can't write a contract. You can verbally say, hey, I want to give you this product in exchange for an Instagram story. But again, it's totally up to them if they actually post it or not. What you can always ask for and guarantee is feedback on the product. A lot of times people don't post products because they might not like it, or it didn't come right, or something like that. So always contracts if they're being compensated. Gifting is kind of a shot in the dark, which is why I would definitely watch the influencers you want to gift to for a couple weeks on social media before you actually gift to them, to make sure that they're credible.
Hi guys, how are you?
We're good.
Thank you, Kennedy and Yeah. And thank you for the call tonight. And I know like influencer marketing is really powerful. So the one question I'd like to ask you guys is like, when is the best time to get started into influencer marketing? Like, and because according to me, like, and it will be really good to like rapid test many products and with Facebook ads, and then once you see one getting attraction, and then invest more, and then are looking for influencers to shout out your products. And I think that would be a great thing. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, for sure. So essentially what I would recommend is, if you're starting out your store new and you don't really know which products are going to hit or which are not, definitely test on Facebook ads first. Jared's lazy man testing method is perfect for this. Test a bunch of different products, see which ones are landing well. Once you get some traction on a few, and it doesn't have to be incredible traction, it's just you're getting some sales on a few products, you can narrow it down to which ones you like the most, and then you can market those to influencers, would be my recommendation. When it comes to influencer marketing, you're not marketing your whole store, you're marketing a single product, just like you are on Facebook. So you want to make sure that your narrative behind this product is already really, really honed in before you go to an influencer with the campaign.
Sweet. Debbie asked if we recommend using a bit.ly link because her links are very long. My take on this would be, could go either way. Sometimes bit.ly links have issues with tracking. So if you're tracking or using any sort of analytics software, we don't recommend using bit.ly ads in Facebook for this reason, because they do tend to mess up the results of tracking your campaigns. So could go either way. If you're not really interested in the metrics, you could use a bit.ly link, but most people are. Yeah, to send to an influencer.
No, I don't think you need to, for two reasons. Because depending on which social channel that you're attracting, for example, on TikTok, if you're trying to attract TikTok influencers, pro tip, if you're trying to reach out to a TikTok influencer, find their Instagram and DM them. It's really hard to get a hold of TikTok influencers on TikTok. But if you are using TikTok, for example, they can't put your link anywhere. They only have one space of real estate on TikTok, and it's one link. And the link, it's a really, really skewed system. That one link will not open up into a browser. It'll open up into another page within TikTok. You cannot take that link and bring it to Safari or bring it to Chrome. It's very complicated. So what I would recommend there is just send them the link so they can see what product it is. Your best chance of conversion for TikTok is having your own TikTok account. On Instagram, for example, if they're going to post a swipe up link, it doesn't matter what the link looks like, because no potential consumer is going to see the link. They're just going to straight swipe up. So whichever link is going to get you the best analytics and tracking on your influencer efforts is what I would recommend. Same with YouTube. YouTube would probably be the only time that I would recommend a bit.ly link, just because longer links are kind of ugly. So that's what I would recommend.
Cool. I want to get to this example of walking through like a product to start an influencer campaign, because I think it would be really helpful for people.
Yeah. Does anyone have, if you want to put your store type in the chat, we can call in one of you guys.
We did get a suggestion before for maternity pillows.
Awesome. Travis, do you want to come on up and walk us through your product? Or really anybody, you guys all have stores. So anybody who wants us to walk you through a campaign on your product, just raise your hand. Cool. Brad, you want to call on someone? Whatever you think.
I can't, because you're the host.
Oh, I'm the host? Okay.
So we can call Debbie up. Debbie, just raise her hand.
Because pet products are fun to talk about anyway. Cool. Hi, Debbie. Welcome back.
Hello, me again.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about, you say you have a large array of products on your store. Give me one product that is selling super well on your store right now?
Well, it is definitely the harness, but however, due to the fact that it's Chinese New Year, I had to turn those things off. So I do also have special, it's named after my dog, Madison. And so the logo, and I even made special made designs based on her caricature, like it's a Disney character of her. And then I took that and I made some funny things, like she's in a namaste pose and it says namaste 6 feet away.
That's funny. So it's a dog harness, correct?
What? I'm sorry, what?
It's a dog harness, like where you attach a leash to?
No, it's a design that I did, and it's to be put on blankets and sweatshirts and things like that.
Okay, cool. So for non-Chinese New Year, your harness is your best selling. And then the next thing that you're planning on selling is this design on anything fabric, correct?
Right, because it's printed on demand and it's from a US company.
Okay, cool. I would actually like to focus more on the dog harness because influencer marketing is a little bit up to ramp up. So you actually kind of have about 4 weeks to prep before you can initiate influencer.
All right. Let her rip.
So since you are a pet supply store, I'm sure you are aware that pet accounts on any social channel are always very popular. So that is where I would be targeting. I would be targeting any and all cute dog TikToks, YouTubes, Instagrams, Facebook pages, doesn't matter. Any cute dog you like, I would utilize those. I'm sure you might even know of a few accounts with cute dogs. Your product will probably work best on Instagram. And is it a specialized harness of any kind?
It's the glow in the dark. It's a USB charging. So you plug it in the wall to charge it.
Well. That would also be incredible for TikTok as well. Finding dog accounts and having, so you kind of have two different campaign concepts here. One of which is going to be a video format, which is going to translate best on TikTok. If you don't already have a TikTok account for your store, I would recommend creating one. The second one is going to be targeting just Instagram dogs and their following, but you'll probably only get a feed post and a swipe up on that. So what I would recommend doing is spending the next several weeks scouring these social channels for all the dog accounts that you like. Any dog that you want to visualize or that you want to see in this harness, find that account, write it down. Do you think that you go ahead?
Now I did actually, like because I have an Instagram and I have a Facebook page, named specifically for the business. And somewhere I read where you scan through that, and I liked their page, so that they could come back and see mine and possibly, or follow, I should say, and then follow my page. And also my videos, technically the product, the beginning video is always of Madison. I have an app that says My Talking Pet. So the video always opens with Madison introducing the product, because there is 8,003,422 doggy things out there, and I want it to be funny and it to be different than everything else. So and it's named after Madison. So she introduces the product is what my videos are.
Cool. So that is how you're translating content on your own social channels. We want to talk about how other individuals are going to translate content on their social channels, right? Okay. So two kind of separate conversations. If we want to do another in Zendrop Live about growing your social following, I will talk about social media all day, every day. So let me know. But Brad's like, please stop. I deleted my Instagram for a reason. Wow. So when we talk about getting other people to talk about your product and other dog accounts to talk about your product, what we want to do is we want to take all of the big accounts. So anything over 10K, remember, we want to have 10,000 followers at least when we're talking about Instagram. Put them all in a list. So you know that you want to reach out to these accounts. What you're going to do is you will, do you know what kind of budget you feel like you could work with comfortably in order to work with influencers? Do you think that we're going more the gifting route? Do you think we're going more the affiliate route or the paid campaign or giveaway route?
I was originally thinking the gifting route, because I do also have like a paw print necklace that's less, inexpensive, that I can always gift or something like that. I mean, I can also gift the actual harness too, but I mean, I originally thought as a thank you, I could send the paw print to people that order. I mean, I also have another business, which is a greeting card company, and I send thank you notes with a token in that. So, I mean, anything small I was trying to do as a gifting. So,
yeah. So what I would recommend is I would take those accounts. I would stick anywhere between the 10,000 to 15,000 follower range. And I would reach out to those influencers in those 4 steps that I indicated. So find their email first. I would say, hey, I'd love to gift you in your pup. I'd love to gift your pup my glow in the dark harness. These are its benefits. I also want to give you this cute necklace in exchange for a social media review. If you're interested, please respond and with your email or with your address, and we'll send it out immediately. Follow up with a DM, also with a follow-up email if they don't respond, and then a comment on their Instagram page through your business Instagram page. Same thing for TikTok, do the exact same thing. And I would recommend, depending on your budget for how much you're willing to spend on gifted product, I would go anywhere between 10 to 30 influencers, or I guess they're dog influencers. So, cause they're dogs. And so I would go anywhere between 10 to 30 dog accounts at one time. Test it out one time through, see if you can contact and confirm 30 influencers in a period of 2 weeks. That means that all of their products will probably get to them in a sporadic of 2-week time. And you'll be able to start tracking that because you'll want to see that they're tagging your account as well and they're using their swipe up link, right? So I am always really partial to a thank you card in the package. Thanks so much for, and we have that ability with Zendrop to be able to do that. So, thanks so much for testing on our product. We're really excited for you to see if you like it. Always have your social channels, your social handle attached to it. And then just experiment with it. Watch what happens to your social media. Watch how these influencers utilize your product. It's not always going to be a success. Someone said that in the comments that sometimes they don't get posted. Sometimes they will not get posted, unfortunately, if we're going the gifting route. That is I guess a risk you're taking when you're deciding to give product away for free instead of paying for a service. But the larger quantity that you can afford to gift, the more likely people will post about it. So yeah, I would say 30 influencers at a time over a 2-week span. So that's what I would spend Chinese New Year doing while you're prepping the rest of your US-based products and things like that, is start searching for those dog accounts.
Can I ask one question while I'm on here?
Yeah, of course.
It's in reference to the Chinese New Year and my orders. I think I told you last week that I had a bunch of orders, and fortunately they did make it through before they got cut off. But one order, somebody had placed an order for 2 different color harnesses. One went through and was shipped out. The other one was not, which I'm guessing is on back order. But is that something that you guys reach out to the customer and let them know it's on back order, or why it wasn't sent, or do I do? I mean, how does that work?
Well, we don't communicate with your customers, so we'll communicate with you if that was the case. But then you would have to communicate with your customer as to why or what's going on, if they want a refund or if they want to wait for the product.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I didn't get any information from you guys. I just happened to be checking my orders, and someone ordered 2, and one was shipped and one was not. So I just figured it was because one was back ordered or it wasn't in stock, but I didn't get any information so that I could relay it back to the customer. Gotcha.
I don't have enough context on this issue to help you, unfortunately, at the moment.
Okay, so
I would reach out to our support team, who answers really quickly, and will help you out. We would never just not inform you if something wasn't going to be shipped out. So either it went to your trash or your spam folder somehow in your email, or something else is going on. But I would contact the support team, and they'll help you out immediately.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Cool. So yeah, that was awesome. So the gifting route's more sort of like the 10 to 15K range, because reaching, I mean, I'm sure that people that have hundreds of thousands of followers or getting, especially that have niche followings, are getting contacted all the time for these sort of gifting promotions, right?
Of course. Yeah, they get free product all the time. So you want to target the lower following ones because they probably don't get gifted as many products.
Right.
Cool. Do we have time for one more question? Let's see. So if we would like to pay these 10 to 15 to review product. Okay, so Radwan is asking about having them create external content that doesn't actually end up on the influencer's page. So if you really like, we'll end on this question. Speaking of dogs, if you really like the content that a certain influencer is creating, and you want them to create content for you to use for your own store, that is completely a different rate and a much longer conversation. It will be cheaper than having them post on their feed, for example. But that's kind of also very dependent on the influencer, depending on how high their production quality is, whether they're just using an iPhone or they have an entire photography team. But I would just reach out to an influencer and ask for their rates in terms of an external review, video, or photo.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kennedy, for all the valuable insight.
Of course.
And thank you
guys.
everyone for joining. Hope you all have a great weekend.
Yeah, and if you guys have any other questions, you're more than welcome to DM me. I'm happy to answer it. I'm Kennedy Meek on Instagram, and I'm happy to answer any other questions. So feel free. I can talk about this stuff all day. So thank you guys for staying and listening.
Awesome. See ya.
All right, see y'all next week.